Hello and welcome back to Mars for another Storm Collectibles nature figure review. Today we are looking at King of Fighters 98 Orochi Yashiro. Super excited for this release and I'm glad I decided to pick this figure up. It was never on my radar, but buying this figure has to be one of my best decisions so far for 2025. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this review for Orochi Yashiro. The first thing I want to touch on with this release for Yashiro is going to be the packaging. In my opinion, just like Joe Higashi, the packaging is a bit lazy. We are getting a different background with the train, which is pretty cool. I like how they add the stage renders for the characters. However, the one thing I will say also is that Storm Collectibles is a bit lazy with their packaging when it comes to KOF 98 because they use the exact same render all throughout the packaging. You can see it here in the front. Here it is here on the side. You can see it there as well. And then also on this side there. It is a bit lazy. However, I will say probably because the game at the time did not offer a lot of art styles that, you know, for every particular character, which is fine. I get it. That's cool. And I gotta say, I don't care as much as the packaging. If it's going to be the same render of the packaging throughout the whole packaging, whatever, as long as the figures come out consistently over time, that's what I'm more concerned with. With this release, you're going to be getting the figure itself. This figure comes with 4 expressive head sculpts. First off, we have our one stoic expression. Next, we have his grinning teeth expression, which looks really good. We have his smirking expression. And then lastly, we have his yelling expression. All expressions across the board look very good and nicely detailed. For the pairs of hands, you're going to be getting 7 pairs of hands. We have 3 on both sides. And then lastly, we have our closed fist. We also are going to be getting 2 effect pieces. They both combine together to give us his move where he slams them down into the ground, which is pretty good. I like that a lot. Now, let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging and start off with some size comparisons. For our first size comparison, we have Yashiro up beside Gonetz and, of course, Orochi, the man himself, or the god himself, I guess. I love the story between all 3 of these characters and the connection. Super cool. Now, let's move on to our next set of KOF figures. Up next, we have KOF 98's Ryu Sakazaki, and we have Joe Higashi. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at Jada Toys and Maximum Series Spider-Man. As you can see for yourself, Yashiro does outscale Sagat and Spider-Man. The scaling is all out of whack, but just for reference, here you go. Jada Toys and Maximum Series Spider-Man. Now, let's bring Yashiro in and take a closer look at the aesthetic and articulation. I am in love with the character design of this character. For me, it's nostalgic, not for the KOF sense, but for like the Dragon Ball Z sense. This is the closest thing I have to a Super Android 13. And you know how Super Android 13 had the pimp straps and things like that. Like, this is a very similar character design, I would say. And I wonder if maybe KOF drew inspiration from that. I'm not sure. I think they both came out around the same time, but I absolutely enjoy the aesthetic of this character, of the figure. I like the necklace with the heart. I like the earrings. I like the red eyes. The red eyes are a big thing for me. I love that. I love the brown leather gloves. Just overall enjoying the aesthetic of this figure. Now, let's get into the articulation. Let's see here. Articulation-wise, our figure can look up this much. He can look down this much. And I think you might be able to take off this necklace piece here. Hold on, let's see. Oh yeah, so you can even remove the little necklace and maybe putting on another KOF figure would be fine, I'm sure. Might have to do that for you all. Let's see, the arms And even like the articulation on the arms is pretty good too. Look at that. Very nice. You have your swivel, double jointed elbows, wrist rotates, of course. Let's see here. And then we know we have the double rockers on both sides, so he can rock up here at the top, or at the waist, and up here at the top. You can hear the little squeak. That just goes to add that quality to the figure. So yeah, articulation on the upper half of the body I feel like is great. Down at the legs, not a clear 90, but it's very similar, very close. Double jointed knees. And yeah, you can just see with the bagginess of the pants, you're going to have the sculpt look like this. So nothing we haven't seen before. It is double jointed knees, and it looks good to me. And the shading and the paint application on this figure is just, wow, just in the pants alone. I mean, the stretching here, the detailing, the seams. He definitely folded and ironed these pants before bringing them out. It looks like something's here in the on these pouches here on the side. So like the pants are like really done nicely. Even here on the joints themselves are shaded. It looks really good. We have a little tuck there. Yeah, it looks good. Even here on the buttocks all the way through, looking great. Let's see. And then the feet does extend out a little bit. You have your toe pivot as well. And then a little rocker movement. Awesome. So yeah, that's going to cover it for the articulation. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at those special effects that the figure comes with. For our effect piece, this is what we're getting. It's kind of like an impact effect. It does separate, so you can see here, nicely detailed here for the base. All the crumble and things like that looks good. And then we have the effect piece itself. Looks very nice. Soft tip, so you don't have to worry about getting hurt or anything like that. And then you just need to line up the grooves together. You can see the indents and then the slots to put them in. And then, voila, there you have it there. And then to essentially put it all together, this is what it looks like. Pretty cool, pretty awesome. At first, I was a bit hesitant because I wasn't too impressed with the effect, but now I actually am impressed. So let's go ahead and get into the conclusion for this review. Like I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the review, buying this figure, picking this figure up has been one of the greatest choices, I would say, of the year so far, because I'm just so surprised on the aesthetic of the figure, the paint application, just the overall feel and look of the character has me blown away and super impressed by this release. I'm glad I got it. If you are on the fence about picking this figure up, I highly suggest you pick it up, especially if you're a fan of KOF and of Yashiro. Thank you all for watching. We've got the Joe Higashi review out. Make sure you check that out. We are going to be getting Kim as well. Kim is on the way, so be looking out for that review. So much great stuff coming from Storm Collectibles, and we haven't even gotten to Storm Arena yet, so make sure you stick around, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you all very soon. Until then, peace.